Ali changed his name. It's a big thing. Ali's training. And before the second fight, Jimmy Ellis hits Ali with a body shot, breaks a rib. This was 2 days before the fight. They can't postpone it again, so he gets a cortisone shot. Liston never knew that. It was a closed training section. So they get to the fight, and Liston, about 3 days before the fight, Jerry Eisenberg said to me that he's there at the training camp, and everyone's watching Liston. He can't get a rhythm going on the speed bag. He can't. He skips rope and he falls. And he said he looked at Robert Lipsyte, because Jerry Eisenberg was with the Newark Star Eagle. He looked at him and he said, this guy's going to fight for the title? He can't even skip rope. He can't even get the speed bag going. Look at him. He's out of it. And Liston didn't believe he'd be given a fair shot. And so what most people don't know about this fight, they say it was a fixed fight, and that's simply not true. Because fixed fights, fighters don't get up. Liston got up. When the fight starts, in the first 10 seconds, Ali comes out and did what he did a minute later. He slips a jab, hits it, and comes right over with a counter right hand. Hits Liston right on the chin, and Liston's knees buckle. 10 seconds into the fight, Ali knew that when Liston jabbed, he would lean his head over his front foot, putting him off balance. And so Liston, instead of cutting off the ring, he follows Ali around the ring, which was the wrong strategy against a guy like Ali. And finally, after circling several times, he throws another jab. Ali slips it, throws a hard right hand. You see Liston's shoulders, tremble, and he goes down. The knockdown was legitimate. They've been practicing that. Angelo called it slip, slide, and bang. And, that's what happened. And that's the same way Leotis Martin knocked him out several years later. So Liston goes down. And Ali, the fight, Jersey Joe Walcott lost all control. Ali's running around the ring like he's about to take flight. He's a crazy man. And then and then the most famous picture in sports history with this arm over.
Right.
Get up, you bum. I want to show the whole world what's going on. You're a bum. You can't fight. Get up and fight like a man. And he keeps running. And 7 things happen at one point at the same time to prevent the fight from having any consistency. Liston goes down, which is what people saw. He gets up on his knees, and then he falls back down again. And it could have been a delayed reaction from the punch, but it looks like a swan dive. Liston said after, Ali was running around, and he came close to me, which he did. And I was afraid he'd hit me when I was down, or he'd hit me with his knee or kick me. So I stayed down. And when he got back up, Liston said I was fighting back when he stopped the fight. If I was going to fix the fight, I wouldn't have gotten up. So Liston hits the canvas. Ali's running around. Jersey Joe should have grabbed Ali and looked at the timekeeper.
To the neutral corner.
Yeah, go to the neutral corner. And if Ali didn't, go to neutral corner, it's your second warning, or you get disqualified. And he goes to neutral corner. Then you look at the timekeeper, time in. That didn't happen. As Ali kept running around and around, they blamed the timekeeper, McDonough. They said, well, he didn't do his job. But if you watch the tape, he did do his job. He said you could hear his voice, and you can hear him hitting the canvas. 1, and giving a vigil sign. 2, 3. Right. You can hear him. The problem was everyone screaming, and Jersey Joe Walcott never looked at him. He knew he had to look at him, but he never did that. So after the count reached 10, Nat Fleischer called Liston over. But he wasn't there in an official capacity. He was just there covering it for ring. He shouldn't have been allowed to speak. So he goes over there. The timekeeper said, the fight's over. His knee was on the ground when I counted 10. The fight is over. And strictly by the rules, that's true. But he had gotten up and continued fighting, at which point Ali was really giving it to him. And Jersey Joe went in and stopped it. And the problem with this was people started yelling fix. And then the rumors came out. The mob fixed it. The mob fixed the fight. The mob paid Liston to lie down. Liston bet millions of dollars on Ali to win. But there's no substantial proof. No one's come forth with concrete evidence to say that actually happened. The only evidence they had was Liston's manager, Ash Resnick. And he had called a friend, Bernard McGids, a local gambler from Houston, to come and watch the fight. And he told him to stay home. And he said, don't bet on it. And McGids said, Resnick told me that Liston was going to take a dive. But Resnick was on the radar of the FBI. His calls were all taped. There's no record of him saying that to Ash Resnick at all. And there's no record of him or Liston or McGinn betting on Ali, because who are they going to bet with? They have to bet that kind of bet with a mob bookie. And who would take Liston's bet? See Welsh when he lost. He was playing with mob money. And no one's going to keep their mouth quiet. He would have had to lay off those bets with dozens of bookies. And that never happened. In fact, when Liston died in 1970, he hadn't been paid yet for either Ali fight. So that was completely untrue. The mob had nothing to do with it. And why would they give up the most valuable prize in sports to someone they had no control over? They had control over Ali for the first fight, and this was it. This was the last option on the second fight. Now they had Ernie Terrell waiting in the rings, but he was a dud at the box office. Ali, because of the Nation of Islam, and specifically because of their security wing, was completely protected from the mob. And Liston was scared before the fight because Malcolm X had just been assassinated. And he thought they were going to come up to Louis Domain and kill him because Ali was quicker, and he wasn't. And they'd miss him and hit Liston. But why would Liston be afraid of the fruit of Islam, some fringe religious sect, when he had the Mafia, the Chicago Mafia behind him? Hundreds of killers that would protect him. So it didn't, all that talk about it being a fixed fight wasn't a fixed fight. And you could see Liston did get up and started to fight back. Who does that when they take a dive? No one gets up when they take a dive. And no money changed hands. Liston got caught with a good shot, and that was it. And people can't accept that. And writers who thought Liston would kill him in the first fight, they had to cover their own ass, and they did that by saying the second fight was fixed. There's no evidence that's ever been presented that it was fixed. The referee wasn't in on a fix. Jersey Joe was incompetent, but he didn't fix it. The timekeeper did his job, and Liston's knee was on the ground when the count of 10 was reached by the timekeeper. That's a knockout.
This is fascinating stuff, really is. And you cover it so well in the book. And there's lots more. We could be here for like hours talking about this stuff. But you know what? We want people to go and buy the book because it's fascinating stuff. So once again, here it is. Boxing's greatest controversies, blunders, blood feuds, and mob corruption by Louis Joshua Eisen. Lou, it's just been fantastic.